guys, Tyler from GamingNextAGE, bringing you another episode of this series where I can just go on the internet and look up in the search bar for Google true funny stories and read what pops up. I don't know if any of these stories are actually true, but just imagine that they are. Okay? This is from a website called Beelzebub. Roy. I came down to my kitchen for breakfast on a Saturday morning. My mom and my sister are already up, and they look exhausted. My mom asked, "Did you sleep alright?" "Yeah," I say. "Yeah," says I. "Even after you woke up?" I woke up. Sometime in the middle of the night, I had started screaming. My mom rushed into my room and found me sitting up in bed screaming, "Roy, Roy, Roy, Roy." She did my best to calm me down while shooing away my pissed-off sister, who had stormed in to find out what the fuck was going on with me. She asked me who Roy was, but I would only say that he was a bald man. I didn't say anything but Roy. Oh, he was a bad man. I didn't say anything but Roy is a bad man. I'm shocked as they're telling me all this, and they're surprised that I don't remember. But then again, I'm the sound sleeper of the house, who can doze through lightning storms, who writes it off as some weird nightmare that I didn't remember. Years later, I'm off at my first year of college. My mom sends me a videotape in the mail. She didn't mention it before I had left, as in, "Hey, keep your eye on the mailbox," or anything. I press play and it's my mom talking, taking a video camera through our house. She was moving and sent the tape as one last walkthrough of the now empty house before she left. It was sweet and a little tear-jerking until she said, "So here's something you might find interesting." Then she approached a closet in her bedroom. This closet, aside from being the hiding place for all the Christmas gifts, was also always packed full of old luggage and other odds and ends. You could always go 3 feet in before you would have to start climbing in things to go further. She goes in with the camera, and I see that there are purple crayon drawings on the walls down at the height there where a small child would draw. There are random scribbles, some stick figures, something that may have been a dog. I was already puzzled because I had no memory of even playing in this closet, and I don't know how I would have drawn on the walls when they were in my mind always covered. When the camera comes to a word on the wall, Roy, and my mom must not have remembered that night. She said on the tape, "Roy, I wonder who Roy is." Okay, so all these stories are as long as that one is, so this story is called "You Finally Found Out." Long before I was born, my parents were renting a house in a different part of our state. My mother never really liked the place. Something just seemed off to her. The feeling still hadn't gone away even after a couple of months of living there. In fact, as time went on, she began to feel even more ill at ease. She chalked it up to paranoia. My father's schedule was shifted, and he was placed on night duty. The first night she was due to be alone in the house. She had a terrible anxiety attack. Something bad was around her. She could just feel it, and she called a friend and had her stay the night. The next day, my dad kidded her about being such a wuss. Before my dad left for work the next night, my mother sheepishly placed a large pair of sharp sewing shears under her pillow. She said she felt embarrassed because, of course, it was all just her imagination. She had considered a knife, but figured that was too silly and over the top. Still, she wanted something just to focus on, really, that could help her calm her nerves when she went to bed. The dream was very intense. That kind where you have no idea it was even a dream. She said in the dream, she got up to go to the bathroom. As she was on her way back to the bedroom, the dream her suddenly started to feel a tingly sensation all over. Then she couldn't breathe. At first in the dream she was calm, but her breathing wasn't coming. She tried swallowing and felt a hard pressure against her throat, a hand pushing and not letting go. Then the pressure jumped and was under her jawline, squeezing so that her whole neck was collapsing inward. She fell to her knees. She was suddenly aware that she was making gurgling sounds. For some reason she said it felt like she wanted to reach out her tongue just as she could get some more air. There was a throbbing under her ears, and the hallway started tilting. She didn't know why, but she was overcome with only one thought. That was she had to get to the bedroom. She began crawling along the hall on her knees, propelling herself along by her elbows, still choking and gasping. The carpet burned against her skin. It felt as if she was underwater. Every slight movement met by resistance. Finally, she made it into the bedroom. Despite her best attempts to calm herself, her heart was beating so hard it had physically started to hurt her as well. Suddenly, whatever had her neck tightened to the point where she had heard a cracking sound. She thought, "I'm going to die." And this gave her dream self a surge of adrenaline. She thrust her arms up onto the bed and grabbed under the pillow, and that's when she woke up. The sun was coming out, and there was fresh light in the room. She was drenched in sweat and lay in the bed for about a half hour, too shocked to move. When she finally convinced herself to get up and swung her legs out from under the blanket, she felt a stinging, sore sensation. She looked down on the worst carpet burn she had ever seen. Layers of skin peeled off, small streaks of red blood on pink skin. It was only after she'd slowly made her way around the bed and toward the door that she found out what had happened to the sewing shears. They were stuck 3 inches deep into the cheaply made wall. My mom packed her bags and had moved in with her sister before my dad had even gotten home. She refused to go back in the house no matter how much my dad complained about the cost of getting out of their lease. Finally, my dad gave up and called the landlord, ready for a fight. He was surprised when the landlord relented and gave him a get-out that barely cost my parents anything. "I guess you finally found out," the landlord said. "Found out," my dad said. It turned out about 5 years later, 5 years earlier, a woman had been found dead in the house. The coroner ruled it a homicide, saying that she had been strangled. The woman's boyfriend, who claimed it wasn't anywhere nearby, was arrested and convicted. I know the boyfriend didn't do it. My mom finished up. And that's why I tell your dad I saved his life. Because I did. I saved my own and saved him from having to spend the rest of his life in prison. This has been Tyler here from GamingNextAGE. I hope you have enjoyed. I like these videos, so yeah. Goodbye.